Say it.
Wintry survival extraction experience
Let's
is
go.
coming to the Division 2.
Let's go!
And
Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2. It's back. I don't know what else to say. Survival is back. So today was the Division 2's second day and panel at Gamescom. A lot went down in a short amount of time, but in this video I'm going to break down to you everything that we just learned about the future of the Division 2, Survival's return, the fact that we're getting more resources on the Division 2, updates on the Division Resurgence. There was a lot. I'm buzzing. I want to get straight into this. Thank you so much to each and every one of my channel members who support me in making my content. I feel beyond lucky to still be doing this to see the return of Survival, so thank you. Timestamps are down below to each of the sections that they went over, and without further ado, let's go. Alright, so as noted, this is the Day 2 panel at Gamescom. It was titled Shaping the Future with Our Community. It was hosted by Anais, one of our community developers, and had Yannick, the game's creative director, in the chair. Now, the first section they went over was focused around the community and feedback. Here, they really just went on to talk about the history of collaboration with the community in the Division franchise, as well as get back to some of those prior cadences that they had. So they shouted out Update 1.4 in the Division 1, how that was shaped by community feedback. They mentioned seasonal characters from last year in the Division 2, how that was a feature that they were really confident in, that they were excited to put out, but the community said no thanks, and so they ended up scrapping it altogether. They also shouted out the recent trip that myself and a few other members of the community got the pleasure and opportunity to go on ahead of the launch of the DLC. So point was, the Division is built on the foundation of feedback and community interaction, and they said they're looking forward to trying to bring in player voices and feedback earlier on in the process, create a more healthy exchange in the future. And part of that is that for the first time in what, like 2-3 years now, they're opening up signups for the Elite Task Force. If you do not know what this is, the ETF is a program that has been running since the early days of the Division 1, and if selected, you then go to sign an NDA. You're then part of this kind of insider program where the game will show you early ideas or content, and you can then give your early and honest thoughts and feedback on it. As someone who was in the ETF program myself, if you're a passionate fan of the Division games and you're willing to work collaboratively to try and give feedback on future stuff and all of that, then I highly recommend signing up. Absolutely. I believe they mentioned that signups are only going through this weekend. Maybe I misunderstood that, but if you want a chance to join this program, I recommend signing up ASAP. They also noted later on that this is going to be the first and only place to playtest the new survival mode that is coming to the Division 2. So if that's not incentive enough, I don't know what is, but yeah, ETF is back. They then went on to give us our first update on the Division Resurgence in like 2 years, maybe a year and a half. So the game's brand director was here at Gamescom to give us some news. I didn't catch his name, sorry if you end up watching this, but he was here. Now, news-wise, they didn't actually give us a ton of explanation of why they've been quiet for so long. They went over the staples, talking about how this game aims to keep the core looter-shooter feel, but put that on the mobile platform. The story is set in between the events of the Division 1 and the Division 2, but the lore is all kept canon. They've worked in close collaboration with the team at Massive. And one thing he noted that was definitely cool to see is that they very much use the live patterns and feedback from the Division 2's ongoing, updates and content. They use those community reactions to influence their decisions on the Division Resurgence. And he said that all of that has led to a new playtest that is coming for the game next month, in just a few weeks, in September. Again, this is the first time we'll have seen the game in a long time, since 2023, I want to say. So if you want to have a chance to play that, take part, give some feedback, I'll be sure to leave the sign up link down in the description, so be sure to do that if you're interested. Alright, but now let's get to the good stuff. As they moved on to talk about the future of the Division 2 and talk about this big project that they've been teasing, they brought Magnus Jansen out onto the stage. Now, this is somebody that I would guess a lot of you are not familiar with. I know I've talked about him in a few past videos, but this guy was the original creative director on the Division 1. Way back in 2013 when they revealed this thing at E3. After the Division 1 came out, he then moved on to work on Avatar for the however many years that was in production. But as soon as we saw him on stage, and I said this in the stream, I was like, oh, holy shit, something's happening here. And so they confirmed that he is right now working as an independent creative director on this project for the Division 2, which is called the Division 2 Survivors. And this is exactly what you think. It is survival in the Division 2 in Washington, D.C. in the winter. Now, he did confirm that this is not just going to be a direct remake of the original mode. They want to do some new things. They wanted to live up to the legacy of survival. The only real details that we got, aside from the artwork that I'll rotate on screen here, is that it's going to be in the winter. It's going to be, of course, survival based, and it will feature extraction elements just like the original mode. But yeah, that's really all we got, is the announcement that this exists. They said it is very early in the process. They joked that they don't even have like t-shirts to wear and promote about it yet. Magnus said that they want to get testing done on this mode as early as possible. He referenced back in the day with the Division 1 that they didn't end up testing Brooklyn thoroughly enough before the launch of the game. And then day one, we had the single file line in the safe house. So that was a cool callback. Again, I think it really speaks to his legacy with the franchise. This guy's been around for a long time, but he said with the renewed ETF stuff that they're doing, and with all of this, they're working towards this new communication level. They want to get people in there testing it. They finished off this segment by showing us like a new updated franchise roadmap. This was amended from the one that we got yesterday that just focused on the Division 2, but you can see now that the Division Resurgence's testing phase is in there, and then Survivors is the very farthest thing out on the timeline. They didn't commit to a release date. Again, he said this is very early in the process, so I kind of thought that maybe this would be tied to the anniversary stuff in March. It looks like not. If I had to give any kind of a prediction, I would say late 2026. October, November, December, somewhere in there. I saw someone saying that November would be the 10-year anniversary from when Survival released in the Division 1. So maybe that's what they're aiming for. I don't know. But yeah, they're a long ways away on this. This is not something that we're going to see like in the very near future for the game. But hot damn, if it's not just exciting enough that it's on the way, I don't know what is. So, my friends, that is going to do it for a recap of the Day 2 panel at Gamescom. You know, what's the phrase? I used to pray for times like this. Survival is coming back to the Division franchise in the Division 2. I frankly never thought this day would come. I know it wasn't everybody's absolute favorite mode from the Division 1, but man, I loved it. I think the memories from it were amazing. The immersion was unmatched. As long as it's got a PvP mode in there, I'm sold. I'm sat. So, can't wait for more details. Any and all thoughts you may have after watching through this recap, I would love to hear about it down below. I'm sure we're going to talk plenty more about this moving forward. But yeah, that's all I've got, folks. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend with this great news kicking us off. But until I see you next, RogueGold out.